Alright everyone, have you heard of Jaslynadams? Probably not. That includes even people who are awake and pay attention to independent media are woefully underinformed at this point because, like, you gotta get a news tip from somewhere. And there's nobody who really cares at this point, certainly not within the MSM or the political complex in the mainline sense, about, gang shootings in Chicago or anything. Do you know how many people get shot in Chicago on the average weekend? I'm surprised it doesn't bleed over into the weekdays because I can't imagine most gang members don't have a 9 to 5 during the week. They're getting their money dealing drugs or with hookers or something akin to that. Jaslynadams, 7-year-old black girl, shot by inner city gang members, I believe still at large at this point, at McDonald's drive-thru. Gang violence erupts and, someone gets hit in the crossfire and, it's very sad and people in Chicago will mourn, but nobody outside of Chicago by and large knows it fucking happens. It's funny because there is a misconception by a large segment of the American public, and indeed the world, trust me, that mass shooting by white supremacists and right-wing extremists is the bulk of gun crime in the US, and so we need to go after those uber scary AR-15s because they're baby killers. In reality, if you look at gun crime statistics, if you were to eliminate the accidental shootings and attempted suicide by gun, which is lumped in with the gun crime stats anyway. Keep in mind, gun crime, killings, and actual murders, different things for statistical purposes. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. If you eliminate those, the vast majority of the U.S. is as safe as living in goddamn Switzerland or Norway or something like that. The gun crime rate and indeed violent crime rates are very, very low. You get a lot of drug crime, you get plenty of property crime. Probably excessive compared to maybe Western European standards, but gun crime, no, it's not really a thing. But the thing is this, Chicago has so much violence, so regularly, people have become desensitized. And because of the fact that it would be inconvenient to admit to the public, the vast majority of gun crime involves handguns, and it involves drug-related cartel or generally crime-related gang activity. And that much of it in that inner city sense is black on black, so you can't blame it on white supremacy. You can't blame it on the police. The police, if anything, their absence is sometimes a contributing factor to the rate of crime. If you were to tell people that that's almost a majority of all gun crime in the U.S. just from that one demographic, then it wouldn't go very well with the gun control argument because they're busy focused on high-capacity magazines, which is whatever the maximum capacity is that's legal at the time. 10 becomes the new high-capacity magazine if 30 is banned, just so that we're aware it is a slippery slope and it's already happening. It doesn't have anything to do with ARs. Most of the time it's a handgun. Here's the problem. You've never heard of Jaslynadams. If you're on this channel, cross-platform, you've probably heard of Secoreiaturner, because I've mentioned her a few times, but if I hadn't, would you have ever heard her name? Would you know that a little black girl was killed by a BLM thug who opened fire on her parents' vehicle when they attempted to maneuver around them in the middle of the street rioting? They started throwing shit and insulting people. The parents tried to move the car around them, and somebody took a shot and killed this little girl. It was never reported on in the lamestream media beyond the locality. This was in the immediate wake of I believe, the Jacob Blake rioting. You never heard of her. You've never heard of Jaslynadams. Well, you'll be among the most informed of your peers about such violence, I suppose, even if I only make 1 or 2 videos of it over the course of the whole fucking year. But hundreds and hundreds of people will be shot in handgun-related, gang-related violence, often black on black, usually drug-related, just in Chicago this year. And yes, crime in the United States is skyrocketing. Take a look at where, among which groups, and what kind of crime. Once you look at that and then you look at why it's actually happening, the gun control argument falls apart. The we need to defund the police argument falls apart. The evil white people are just trying to kill us all argument falls apart. And you're left with the reality, which is that it has to do with blighted inner cities, with metro police forces that often take too much of a hands-off approach, in which there's an interplay between people in the community. They don't want gangs around maybe, but they feel distrustful of the police because they've seen MSM reporting. As Bongino told Geraldo, you're literally the reason why these people are afraid of police. It's not because of the police's actions, it's your amplification of the idea that they're sitting there waiting for an opportunity just to kill a black person or a Hispanic. And then there's a distrust in the other direction. The cops realize there's that distrust. They're not going to get any cooperation from the neighbors, so to speak. Of course, they're going to be a little bit nervous. They walk down the street, they might randomly get gunned down by someone in a gang who's trying to prove their affiliation or something. I'd feel pretty shitty about my job too. Honestly, if I was working as a cop in many larger urban areas in the US, I'd quit. I would quit and I would relocate. If I had a family, I'd relocate them too. I'd try to become a sheriff in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming or something. Yeah, I'm taking a pay cut. Yeah, I can no longer get my organic vegan sushi, my bug burgers, but hey, I probably am not going to get shot at. Maybe by a drunken redneck. You roll up on their meth trailer or something. That could be a bit of a problem. That's basically the violent crime in half the U.S. You realize how low the gun crime rate is in most rural and suburban and small town parts of the United States? I lived in southern Texas. Now, keep in mind the demographics of the Rio Grande Valley. It's like 99% Hispanic. A vast majority of people are first generation, and there are a lot of illegal immigrants as well, to tell the truth. Huge number of them. Weslaco, the town I was in, I think it has about 30,000 people now, a few less when I was there probably. It's a boom town. It's near McAllen, near Hidalgo, and some of these other places. It's tolerably close to South Padre Island, so you get a lot of weekend beach activity during the warm months, which is every month in southern Texas. Just gonna say, I saw people in sweaters at 70 degrees. You people are weird sometimes. I checked the crime stats, and the property crime was through the roof, like people breaking into your car or house or something. There hadn't been a murder in that town, small town America, in like 30 years. There've probably been a few more recently because of Beijing Biden not guarding the border, and you've got an exacerbation of the problem that was already there when I was there. It was the Obama administration at the time. I'm sure that's gone up. Unfortunately, you probably had murders down there at this point. And McAllen could be certainly a little bit more dicey. Some cartel activity definitely there. Sinaloa probably has a field office. But really, the gun control argument, or the gun crime argument that the Democrats especially are pursuing, falls completely flat when you look at stories like this. You never heard of Secoreiaturner. Now, I would think that a little like 9-year-old black girl getting shot because her parents did the grave sin of trying to escape a riot, I would think that though it should be mind-blowing. But the thing is, she wasn't killed by a cop. She was killed by a black BLM member who just randomly opened fire on the vehicle. I think they caught him within 2 days. That's the reason. Jaslynadams was killed by, presumably, black inner-city gang members. This is, Chicago. There's a certain demographic involved. You're not going to hear anything. Fox won't talk about it. Even they won't fucking touch the story. Tucker Carlson mentions these things once in a while in passing. You don't even hear about it on Fox News. CNN won't touch the story with a 10-foot pole. And it's very, very sad. You can't solve a problem until you can quantify what the problem actually is. If you're worried about the gun crime rate in the United States, focusing on trying to get rid of assault rifles or turning assault pistols into SBRs and subjugating regulation to the NFA with a tax stamp and a registry and stuff, or going after expanded magazines, none of these things are used by inner city gangs. If I'm an inner city gang member, I'm probably wearing baggy clothes and my piece is small, easily concealable, and in my waistband. The whole point is I'm probably not supposed to have a gun, and I don't want people to notice that I have it. Can I easily hide an AR pistol in my waistband? No. When Biden comes out and says, well, some of these assault pistols, the pistol brace can fold up and it makes it easily concealable. Are you goddamn high? Don't answer that question. We already know about what those dementia meds do to your brain. No, you cannot easily... Maybe if you're 500 pounds and you're wearing a piece of elephant skin as clothing, then you can conceal an AR pistol or a Banshee pistol or something like that. No, that doesn't make any sense, though. You can use a handgun. The whole idea of drive-bys and shit, you don't want to be discovered to have a weapon. Many of those gang members are already felons. They're not allowed to have guns. They purchased them on the black market. They didn't go to some redneck state and buy it from some Farmer John dude. Yeah, the Crips show up, hey, Farmer John, what you got for me this evening? That doesn't happen. No. It was, trust me, it came from Chicago to begin with. They didn't go outside of the state to get it. It wouldn't make any sense. They don't have to. It's from the back of a car, bless you, in an alley somewhere, or something like that. With a skeevy dude who also makes like rip-off recordings of premiering videos and puts them on the internet for 99 cents or something, with his wet smoker's cough. That's where you're getting the guns. Like GTA San Andreas sort of thing. Yeah, let me go out to the farm and grab a shotgun so that I can do this drive-by. That just doesn't happen. It wouldn't make any sense. Just because a person's in a gang doesn't mean they lack all intelligence, they probably realize that if they're a felon and they walk down the street open carrying an AR-15, they might have a legal problem. You hide the fucking handgun in your waistband. A little 9mm, a 380, something like that. A 22. Those are apparently, they're much more commonly used than you would suspect, considering the caliber's basically useless for self-defense purposes under most circumstances. And if politicians gave a shit, they'd be saying, say her name about Jaslynadams or Secoreiaturner, and they'd be calling for police reform specifically in inner cities and crackdowns on crime therein. They would be attempting to solve that problem where most of the actual gun crime occurs. If you're in the middle of the suburbs or in a town of like 50 people, you're probably not going to get shot unless you go out not wearing orange during hunting season. That's about all. Peace out.